My mind reeled and spun. Why? Why are you telling me this?
Once every 10,000 years, the walls between worlds grow thin. The stars align the right way, and hell is close. It is the time of the Shada. That time is now. Those who have hated your kind are massing in their millions, hundreds of millions. Strong they are, filled with a lust for blood and flesh, not invulnerable, never that. But hard are they to kill who are not so alive in the first place. Some have leaked through already, scouts and infiltrators. They have always had followers here, and now those followers are Shadalka, preparing the blood rituals that will throw open the gates of hell. One such gate lies under your city, close by here. 3 passages lead from it, 1 way in and 3 ways out.
I shuddered. Our armies, our weapons. I sensed Johnny's amusement.
Oh, so much have you improved, and the battle will be different. But few will believe until the danger is upon them. Then hundreds of millions of these.
A ghostly finger appeared in my vision, pointing down at Falkaya.
Will leap from every shadow. Will your warriors have time to arm? Maybe. Better still if they do not have to.
What do I do? I begged. Johnny laughed. His head appeared, floating next to me like some mad Cheshire cat, with a dazzling grin and a single gold tooth. The face faded away.
Another sale that will be. Johnny will be around. Johnny is always around.
Hey, Kevin, what's up? I started, dropping my radio and looking around wildly. JJ was standing less than a foot away. You all right, man? You ain't on something, are you? He gave me a funny look. Did you see anyone? I demanded. No, man. You weren't up with the rest of the dive. Came back to check. I shook like a dog for a second and then bent down to pick up my damaged radio. I must have gone out on my feet, dreaming or something. You want to go back up? No. Let's catch up with the dive. I started forward, patting my pockets, then came to an abrupt halt. What, man? JJ said. My mag light is gone. Did you lose it? No. I swallowed hard. I traded it to someone. Cool. He shrugged. We rejoined the rest of the team in silence and walked on. Some small motorized carts waited at the bottom of the slope, and we took those deeper into the dig. Despite JJ's curious glances, I said nothing more. The encounter with Johnny was fading fast, and I decided I must have left my mag light on my dresser. It had to have been a dream. Maybe I should see a doctor as soon as I get topside. I joined the others in boarding the little electric carts, and we rode the rail to the dig. An hour later found us where the sandhogs had stopped the tunnel boring machine we'd nicknamed the Mole. The semi-sized machine bored through bedrock like a mouse ate through cheese. The dive spread out, breaking into sections and setting up for tests. I climbed up to the Mole's control and looked it over. Sometimes people forgot to properly secure the thing. Glass on the TBM reflected my face, and I spent several seconds staring at my reflection, looking for signs of insanity. Blue eyes set in a wide Irish face under red blonde hair stared back at me. I didn't look crazy. At least I didn't think I did. Without thinking, I rested my hand on the improvised seat the sandhog had rigged up on the TBM. My hand slipped on some nasty-feeling slickness. I jerked back with a curse, then stared at my palm. It was dark and wet. I looked at the seat. There was no question that it was partly congealed. Blood. I started shaking. I climbed down and started searching. The area where the Mole operated was always the most recently dug, with raw earth and stone scattered about. This section seemed larger than usual, and I spotted other tunnels nearby. These were more crudely dug, as if the mole had not been used. They also had the look of older diggings about them. One was particularly wet, as if someone had chanced on an underground stream. I wondered why it hadn't been filled and reshored. There weren't even any nets on the ceiling to stop falling rock. I pulled out my heavy-duty flashlight and walked down the unlit tunnel. Clay and mud squished under my boots. What in God's name am I doing, going off into a side tunnel by myself without telling anyone? I paused and started to turn back, but thoughts of the rest of the dive laughing at me for cracking up changed my mind. I pressed on, cursing my vivid imagination. The tunnel got wetter and wetter, and I had to stop after water reached my knees. This was a major threat to the dig. I was going to have to report it to Mendeleev. Some other district supervisor must have allowed for an alteration of the dig plan without checking with him. There was going to be hell to pay. I started back, and something grabbed my leg. I screamed and toppled forward, splashing into the muck. I fought my way around and grabbed what held my leg. A coat? I gasped, almost giddy with relief. Somebody must have left the thing in there and it had fallen in, becoming sodden and heavy. The sleeves had tangled my legs. I pulled the thing off and held it up, and my relief vanished. It was slashed, cuts running through the heavy material in all directions. Suddenly, I found myself wishing I'd asked the crane operator when the sandhogs had come up and how many of them had returned. I shone my light down the tunnel, but could see nothing more than the filthy water. The water gurgled and sloshed. It was flowing, but I didn't know to where. Enough, I said, enough. I dropped the slash jacket and sloshed back to the main dig area, shining my light over my shoulder to make sure there was nothing behind me. Once I'd made the well-lit open space, I leaned against the wall and let my breathing slow.